Hey everyone, it's time for another episode of Steven Goes to the Movies. So I am just leaving the theater after seeing The Girl in the Spider's Web. I've got to say I'm pretty conflicted about this movie. Let me just start off by saying it is very well acted, and most of the visuals are great. I saw it in the Dolby Theater at an AMC. So the blacks are really rich, and it's set in winter in Sweden, so you've got lots of snowy environment. So the contrasts between the rich black and the bright whites and all that really worked well. I thought it was funny that the main character always wears black, which I know is kind of her thing, but she's like traipsing through these like snowy environments, kind of trying to be stealthy in all black. And I was just like, yeah, that's one way to not stand out, I guess. Maybe look like the trees. But to be honest, I just kind of found the movie boring. The last movie in the series, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, came out in 2011. Before that, there were 3 movies that had come out that were all with Swedish actors in 2009, and then I guess apparently they all came out in 2009. Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest, and Girl Who Played with Fire. So those 3 came out quite close together, and then a couple years later they come out with, like, I guess you could call it the American remake of Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, which starred Daniel Craig as Michael Bloomquist, or however you say that last name. And I just rewatched it last night, so that I could kind of be fresh. I thought maybe there'd be a continuation of the story, because here we are, this is like almost 8 years later, since when they filmed that one to when this one was released. It's been 7 or 8 years in between the movies, so I assumed that there'd be some kind of, tie-in, tie-over. So I watched that one again, and then after watching this one, I was quite confused, to be honest. Obviously I know that they changed all the actors, and I don't know if it's even fair to try to compare actors, but Daniel Craig I felt was better in that role in the last one than the actor who played the character in this one. Elizabeth Salander's character, I'm not sure the actress's name. She did well in the role. It was done a little differently than the previous Elizabeth Salander, where this one she's more of like an ass kicker, versus the last one, she knew how to fight, but it wasn't like her main thing. The hacking stuff in this one felt less realistic than in the last one. She's like walking through an airport and on the fly unlocking doors and stuff, and it just at points there wasn't even a phone in her hand, and I'm like, okay, so did she time that out? So I don't know, there's some stuff like that I wasn't quite sure how it fit in. Let's see what else. But yeah, like I said, it was just a little on the boring side. The whole story was pretty much laid out there right from the start, in all the previews and in the movie. There's this mysterious sister, and oh, her dad was a bad person, and and there's all these things that get alluded to, and you're like, okay, so that's where this is going. I already know. So there wasn't much drama or build up to the conclusion. And then you get to the conclusion, and then that scene was in the trailers, and you're like, oh, there's that scene from the trailers, and it's just, I don't know, overall, I I wouldn't recommend seeing it in the theaters unless you really want to see some good-looking explosions, like the red heat from the fires and the rumbling in the theater. Like, that stuff worked, but there wasn't really enough of that, I'd say. So I would probably say that the best thing to do would be to rent it. You know, if you're a fan of the other girl with the dragon tattoo movies, you know, it does hold up with the series, so see it, but I don't know if it's worth like 15 to 24 bucks to see it. There were a couple trailers that were new. I'm not going to go over ones that Alan and I, who's not here today, have discussed already. There was one that I only saw the last bit of it because I walked into the theater a couple minutes late. It was called Destroyer, starring Nicole Kidman. It looked like a possibly like post-apocalyptic movie, or she has like some kind of powers, or she's been mutated in some way. I'm not sure, but it looks pretty cool. I'm excited to see more about that one. And then the other one was a movie called Miss Bala, starring Gina Rodriguez. I'm not sure if that's who I think it is, if that's the girl from Jane the Virgin, which I never really watched, but in this trailer looks like she knows what's up. I mean, they even they marqueed her as Gina Rodriguez is, you know, so like they made it like a big deal, and it looks really cool. I'm excited to go check that one out. The only issue I have with it from seeing the trailer is that it's rated PG-13, and if it's supposed to be like an ass-kicking movie with guns and, you know, and violent and all that kind of stuff, then I'm curious what they're going to be able to do in the PG-13 rating to stretch it out as far as they can to make it, you know, the level of like whatever violence that you might expect, or you know, bloodshed or that kind of a thing. So yeah, you know, pretty quick review today. Girl in the spider's web. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe, please. Tomorrow night, Alan and I will be going and seeing Fantastic Beasts Grimwald in IMAX, so be on the lookout for that review, and have a great day.